This review covers Maverick's 1964 Dodge 330 Super Stock car. It's a 125 kit from Lindbergh and it's number 72174. This car has been issued as different drag cars and in stock versions, but this kit, first released around 1997, is still being produced. It's a replica of Bill the Maverick Golden's Super Stock drag racer. Now this kit builds up as a single-purpose build based on the original car. Bill Golden was a very successful driver. He won the AHRA Midwest Championship in 1963, but he's most remembered for his Little Red Wagon wheel standard drag car. Now this kit contains 114 parts, but a few are not used for this version. The kit's molded in white, clear, and chrome, and the tires are plain black vinyl, but they have sidewall markings that are maybe a bit too modern for that era. The kit's listed as a skill level 2 for the intermediate builder, and it has no major issues. However, there are some modifications necessary to build the kit properly. They'll be discussed later in the review. And when you're finished, the kit measures 8.5 inches long, 2¼ inches high, and 2¾ inches wide. Here are the parts for the kit, and as you can see, they're pretty clean. Just the usual parting lines and ejector pin marks, but they're easy to clean up. And you see those great big rear slicks for the drag version. The windows are pretty nice. They're a little on the thick side, but the buildability is good because the parts were designed in such a way that it's not too bad. Some of the fiddly bits are like your the roll bar, etc., some of the suspension, but overall, it's a pretty easy kit to put together. Here are the decals for the kit, and you can see they're mostly black, but there are some colored ones in there, and the register is pretty good. They come off of the backing paper nicely, and they apply well, but you may want to use some setting solution, and you may even want to cut the C-pillar and rear black stripe there to line them up and make sure that they're put into position without any major wrinkles. That'll be up to you. Construction starts with the engine, and you can see here the block and heads there are a dark, they're kind of an orange color for the HEMI orange, but in this light they look dark. And you've got a metallic silver transmission, and the valve covers are black. The manifold and some of the accessory items are added next, as well as the carbs, which are kind of a goldish tone, and their intake. Next, we'll add the front of the engine along with that radiator hose for positioning. And remember, you have to scrape the paint or the chrome plating off of any parts you want to glue together. Now you'll add the headers, which are a two-piece unit. You'll assemble those, and then they are added to the engine's heads, as well as the ignition coil up top the manifold. So here you see the completed engine, all put together, and it's a good representation of the mighty HEMI engine. And so once you get this built, it's almost a model by itself, but we're going to need to put that in the engine bay. So get used to the idea of only seeing it when you open the hood. Now, you see the cross member here just off to the right. That's supposed to go in at this point, but I also found it important to add the K-member, the front suspension piece that cradles the engine. That helps keep it in place. But I want to explain what you're seeing here as far as the colors go. As delivered from Dodge originally, it was a gray poly car, so the undercarriage and under the hood and that and the car was a poly gloss gray. Now, after the car was delivered to Bill Golden, it was taken to Mickey Thompson's shop for the yellow and black paint. So that's why you're seeing the overspray on the outside edges of the lower section. So here you're seeing that suspension piece in place along with the tie rod, and they've been picked out in metallics along with the cross member there that's cradles the back end of the transmission. Here you see the torsion bars. They're painted metallic along with the spindles that will go into place. So if you look there inside the red circles, that's the spindle and the torsion bars attached to that, and of course also to the frame with the black arrow pointing to the torsion bar itself. Also note that the engine's been put into place, and you'll need to scrape those engine mounts clean of paint, and then use some strong glue to position it and make sure that it fits nice and flat and flush and is perpendicular to the plane of the car itself, so it's straight up and down. Now you can assemble the differential and axle there, the two halves, put that together. And the springs have been painted steel color. So go ahead and assemble the rear end, the differential axles, and that to the springs. And we've got some shocks there. Paint them your color of choice. A steel color for the drive shaft, and its safety bracket there is just black. Now you can slip the drive shaft into the engine, or I should say the transmission end there, and then also simultaneously into the rear end and glue the rear end into position. The springs go into their little slots and positions and get this ready for the next step. All right, and now we'll work with the front end. We're going to have the radiator support. There's gloss gray, and the support itself, or the core itself, is kind of a semi-gloss black, along with a flat black radiator hose. And now we're going to work with the firewall and the inner fenders, and you'll notice that they're aluminum colored, and that's because this vehicle was lightened up. This had aluminum fenders, a hood, and bumpers, and everything that wasn't needed to race was eliminated. Even the brakes that were used are smaller units, and you see just the master cylinder here. There's no power brake booster. And here's the engine compartment, and it's pretty sparse actually. Even with that massive 426, there's room on the sides. But a lot of cars were like that back then. Nonetheless, what you don't see here is the battery. That was moved to the trunk for a better weight transfer. The interior gets painted a dark red, and you'll notice there's just the front seats here. So those will be assembled. And the back seat is not used. It's a lightweight factor to keep it out of a race car. And the gas pedal is there, prominently painted flat black. So just remember, race cars are a little different, and in fact this one didn't even use the roll bar that's shown in the instructions. The side panels are shown here, of course in the same red color, with the armrests, and a chrome pen has been used to highlight the metal parts. Here you see my renumbering of the decals that go into the interior. They're incorrectly numbered on the decal sheet, but you can kind of figure out where they go. But here's a chart in case you want a guide. Also note that the decals that go into the gauges and anywhere that would be under glass, they are better off just being cut out and applied with some white glue. And you see here we have the dash along with the steering wheel, and the steering wheel's got some chrome paint to it. That large silver thing on the dash is a tachometer, and the trim was done with the chrome pen as well. Locate your landing spots for the interior, and then scrape the paint off of there, and use some strong glue to glue that into position. I noticed when doing a little bit of test fitting that when the windshield is put into position there, the bottom of the windshield kind of protrudes. So you'll need to take some of that off, about a 1/16 of an inch, in order to get the interior to mount properly. Once you've got the bottom of the windshield removed so that the interior will fit, go ahead and install the window glass with white glue or crystal clear. Don't forget the mirror gets mounted in there. And by the way, the visors are part of the windshield, but they'll be painted white just like the interior roof. Let's turn our attention to the body, and the mold lines were so slight that I didn't even see the need to remove them. But that was on this sample. You'll have to check yours for them. Now, I put the rear panel into place before painting the body. And by the way, everything that was not needed to race was removed from the vehicle. The brakes even were smaller units. There was no front sway bar used, no undercoating, no sound deadeners, and there was no back seat. So you can see everything that isn't needed to go fast was eliminated. Now we'll work on the hood. And as every modeler knows that builds cars, it's pretty important that you get the hood right. Now, this has a couple of locating holes and some openings for the carb intakes that you have to open up. But even so, after doing that, they didn't appear to be quite right, or the alignment wasn't exactly right. It's too tight. So I ended up having to take some off of the intake manifold for hood clearance anyway. Nonetheless, your hood scoop goes into place on those two holes in the back end, and as you saw earlier, you do have an option of just installing hinges on the hood, which would relegate your car to always having the hood open if you use those. So once you get the hood set up with the holes that are inscribed there, you can install that hood scoop, glue it into place before you paint, and also clean up that back section where the sprue is attached to the hood piece. Now we'll work with the front bumper and the grille panel, and they're separate, as the lightweight cars that came from the factory did not have high beam headlights. Once again, a weight savings, and the stock version of this kit does have 4 headlights. Here's the point where basically most everything comes together. You can go ahead and install the body onto the chassis and interior sections, and just locate your mounting points and use some strong glue. Make sure that it's fully seated. Then you can add the front end bumper and grille. You see a little detailing there with the parking lights in orange color. And then we used a brand called One Shot paint, and this is a real nice enamel that has a high gloss shine to it. And then the decals are applied very carefully, along with a setting solution to make sure that everything goes into place properly, and plenty of warm water to position them before you squeeze out any bubbles, and they're permanent. The hood was painted along with the body, and of course the hood scoop was installed before that. And so you see the stark contrast decals there that really set this car off, along with the chrome-looking letter script in the front. And now you can drop that good-looking hood into place, and your model is nearing completion. Now we move back around to the back of the car, and we're going to paint the lenses for the taillights with some stoplight red. And once those are dry, apply them to the bezels with some clear glue. And also we've got the trunk emblem, which you see here up on the trunk. So you can install the taillights, the bumper, and the bezel basically all at about the same time here, and glue those into position on the back end. Let's assemble the wheels and tires, and you see those white discs in the middle. Those are rotators. They will get trapped in between the inner and outer wheels, and then if you're careful, you can simply glue the ends of the spindles to those so that the wheels will continue to rotate. And once they're assembled, then you can add the chrome wheels to the outside, and snap these or glue these into position, or if there's enough friction there, you can simply install them and allow them to rotate. And here are the parts that I did not use for the build. Now the back seat and the roll bar, they were left out on purpose because they didn't belong to this particular version of the car. There you have it. Your model is complete. And as a testament to the Maverick, whose iconic racing days were noticed by many and admired by all. This model represents a real nice rendition of one of his early super stocks in a striking yellow and black livery. Now, if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf.
Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.